So here's where we are. Sean Diddy Combs was just sentenced to 50 months in prison. The lawsuit that named Jay-Z alongside him dropped back in February. And somewhere in between all of this, Beyonce has been essentially invisible from public life while one of the biggest trials in music history played out. Let's talk about what actually happened, because there's a lot of noise out there, and most of it doesn't hold up to basic scrutiny. The story really starts in November 2023 when Cassie Ventura filed a lawsuit against Diddy. She'd been his girlfriend for over a decade, signed to his label when she was just 19, and her lawsuit alleged years of abuse, rape, and trafficking. That case settled within 24 hours, but it opened the floodgates. By September 2024, Diddy was arrested on federal charges: racketeering conspiracy, sex trafficking, transportation to engage in prostitution. The feds had been investigating for months. They'd raided his homes in LA and Miami back in March. And suddenly, everyone wanted to know who else might be connected to what went on at those parties. Enter Tony Busby, a Texas attorney who announced he was representing over 100 alleged victims. In October 2024, he filed a lawsuit on behalf of an anonymous woman claiming she'd been assaulted at a VMA's after-party in 2000. The original suit named Diddy. Then, in early December, Busby refiled. The amended complaint alleged that both men had assaulted her when she was 13 years old. The woman claimed she'd been lured to an after-party by a limo driver, felt woozy after having a drink, and was assaulted by both men while a third celebrity watched. Jay-Z's response was immediate and aggressive. He released a statement through Roc Nation calling the allegations heinous and describing Busby's tactics as a blackmail attempt. He wrote that he would not give Busby one red penny and challenged him to file the lawsuit publicly. But what struck people was this line from Jay-Z's statement: "The hardest part was having to explain the allegations to my children. Blue Ivy was 12 at the time. The twins, Rumi and Sir, were 7. His lawyer, Alex Spiro, told reporters that Jay-Z was upset that his kids and his family have to deal with this. And here's where Beyonce enters the picture. The day after Jay-Z was named in that lawsuit, the entire Carter family showed up at the Los Angeles premiere of Mufasa, The Lion King. Blue Ivy voices a character in the film, and there they were, walking the red carpet together, presenting a united front. It was a deliberate choice, a message. Beyonce has said almost nothing publicly about any of this, but her mother, Tina Knowles, got dragged into it anyway. Social media users noticed she'd apparently liked an Instagram post from ABC7 Chicago that detailed the allegations against Jay-Z. The Bayhive went into overdrive. Tina responded with a Notes app statement claiming she'd been hacked. She wrote, "I was hacked. As you all know, I do not play about my family. So if you see something uncharacteristic of me, just know that it is not me." Now let's talk about what happened to that lawsuit. In December, Judge Annalisa Torres denied Jay-Z's initial motion to dismiss. She also criticized his lawyer Alex Spiro's approach, writing that his relentless filing of combative motions containing inflammatory language and ad hominem attacks is inappropriate and a waste of judicial resources. But then the accuser gave an interview to NBC News, and it was damaging to her own case. She told NBC, "I have made some mistakes. I may have made a mistake in identifying." She acknowledged inconsistencies in her recollection, while still maintaining the assault happened. For a case that depended entirely on her account, this was a problem. Jay-Z's team moved to dismiss again in January 2025, citing those inconsistencies. They also sought sanctions against Busby. Then, in February, the lawsuit was voluntarily dropped. The accuser's lawyers filed a notice of voluntary dismissal with prejudice, meaning she cannot refile. Jay-Z called it a victory and said the frivolous, fictitious, and appalling allegations have been dismissed. But there was more. ABC News obtained a recording made by private investigators associated with Jay-Z's team. In it, the accuser can be heard saying Jay-Z didn't have anything to do with the sexual assault. When asked if Busby had pushed her to include Jay-Z, she allegedly said, "He was the one that kind of pushed me towards going forward with him, with Jay-Z." Busby denied this, calling it a blatant lie. The accuser filed a declaration saying she stood by her claims and only dropped the suit because she was frightened by the reaction of Jay-Z and his supporters. Jay-Z didn't stop there. He sued Busby and the Jane Doe for defamation in both California and Alabama. In May 2025, he amended that lawsuit to claim he'd lost $190 million in income, credit, and loans as a result of the allegations. He said Roc Nation was denied a $115 million loan, and he personally was denied a $55 million credit line. However, a California judge dismissed his California lawsuit against Busby in July 2025 under the state's anti-SLAPP law. Jay-Z has appealed that ruling. Now let's rewind and talk about the actual history between these three people, because the connections run deep. Jay-Z and Diddy have known each other since the early 1990s. They came up together. Diddy was building Bad Boy Records while Jay-Z was recording his debut album, Reasonable Doubt, which featured Biggie Smalls. That was 1996. Both men went through separate legal troubles at the turn of the millennium. In December 1999, Jay-Z was accused of stabbing a record producer at a Times Square nightclub. He eventually pleaded guilty and got probation. Weeks later, Diddy was involved in a shooting at Club New York with his protege Shine. Jennifer Lopez, Diddy's girlfriend at the time, was also arrested but received no charges. Diddy was acquitted. Shine served nearly a decade. It was during this period that Jay-Z and Beyonce began their relationship. She was 18 or 19 when they started dating, depending on which interview you believe. He was 31. They've both said they were friends for about a year and a half before anything romantic happened. Beyonce collaborated with Diddy on the song Summertime in 2003. For the next 2 decades, the three of them were photographed together constantly. Birthday parties, award shows, business events. When Diddy turned 50 in 2019, Beyonce was there dancing alongside Kelly Rowland. Jay-Z was seen in videos snatching a phone from someone trying to film them. They were close. That's documented. And now people are asking what that closeness meant. Here's what we know about the trial itself. Diddy's federal case began on May 5th, 2025. Cassie Ventura testified for days, describing drug-fueled sessions Diddy called freak-offs that could last for days. She said she felt forced to participate. She described frequent physical abuse. The prosecution played that 2016 hotel surveillance video showing Diddy beating and kicking her in a hallway. Another witness, Dawn Richard, from Making the Band, testified about witnessing abuse. Kid Cudi testified that someone allegedly set his car on fire after Diddy learned he was dating Cassie. But the defense strategy was interesting. They acknowledged the violence. Attorney Tenny Garagos told jurors, "The evidence is going to show you a very flawed individual, but it will not show you a racketeer, a sex trafficker, or somebody transporting for prostitution." Diddy didn't take the stand. The defense called no witnesses. On July 2nd, 2025, the verdict came in. Guilty on 2 counts of transportation to engage in prostitution. Not guilty on sex trafficking. Not guilty on racketeering conspiracy. Diddy knelt on the floor and prayed when the verdict was read. He was reportedly seen mouthing "thank you" to the jurors and "I'm coming home" to his family. But he's not going home yet. Judge Aaron Subramanian denied bail and kept him in custody pending sentencing. On October 3rd, 2025, Diddy was sentenced to 50 months in prison, just over 4 years. He'll get credit for time served. The judge noted the repeated nature of his crimes and violence toward former partners. He said the sentence should send a message that violence against women is met with real accountability. His lawyers immediately announced they'd appeal, arguing the judge acted as a 13th juror by punishing him for crimes he was acquitted of. Meanwhile, Diddy's net worth has reportedly fallen from around $900 million to about $400 million. So where does this leave the Carters? There's no evidence connecting Jay-Z or Beyonce to any of the misconduct alleged against Diddy. The lawsuit that named Jay-Z was dropped and appears to have had significant credibility problems. No other accusers have come forward against him. Another lawsuit that briefly mentioned Beyonce and Jay-Z being present at a party where an alleged assault occurred was amended in April 2025 to remove all references to them. No explanation was given. Their lawyer, Alex Spiro, has been aggressive in responding to anyone making allegations. When singer Jaguar Wright went on Piers Morgan's show and called Jay-Z and Beyonce a nasty little couple with victims, Spiro sent what was described as a legal ultimatum. Piers took down the interview and apologized, saying the claims were totally false and have no basis in fact. But there are questions that remain unanswered. Beyonce and Jay-Z attended Diddy's parties for years. They were close friends. Did they see anything? Did they know anything? Their silence has fueled speculation. even if that speculation has no evidence behind it. Industry insiders told Page Six that the couple's low profile in 2024 was connected to the Diddy fallout. One source noted that Cowboy Carter had just come out and should have had Beyonce reveling in the spotlight, but instead, she is nowhere to be seen. The album still debuted at #1, but something had clearly shifted. What we're left with is this. One of hip-hop's most powerful figures is now in federal prison. The lawsuit against his former close friend was dropped under murky circumstances, and the most famous couple in music has chosen silence over explanation. Jay-Z has called the allegations against him fictitious. His accuser maintains she was telling the truth even after dropping the suit. Busby says his client was intimidated into backing down. Jay-Z says she was pushed to lie. The court of public opinion has rendered various verdicts depending on who you ask. The actual courts have dismissed the case against Jay-Z while convicting Diddy on lesser charges. There's a lot we still don't know. What exactly did Beyonce know about her husband's friendship with Diddy? What happens now that Jay-Z's defamation lawsuit was partially dismissed? Will more people come forward? These are legitimate questions. What's not legitimate is assuming the answers without evidence. The entertainment industry is having a reckoning. The Diddy trial forced people to confront things they looked away from for decades. Cassie's testimony, the hotel video, the pattern of behavior that apparently went unchecked for years. But reckoning requires facts, not speculation. And right now, the facts show us a convicted man heading to prison, a dismissed lawsuit with competing narratives about why it was dropped, and a famous couple who has chosen to say almost nothing. Maybe that silence is strategic. Maybe it's legally advised. Maybe it's just how Beyonce and Jay-Z have always operated, controlling their narrative by not engaging with accusations they consider beneath them. Maybe that silence is strategic. Maybe it's legally advised. Maybe it's just how Beyonce and Jay-Z have always operated, controlling their narrative by not engaging with accusations they consider beneath them. Whatever the reason, we're watching one of the most dramatic stories in music history unfold, and it's not over yet. So here's my question for you. Do you think Jay-Z and Beyonce owe the public any explanation about their friendship with Diddy, or is their silence the right approach? Drop your thoughts in the comments. If this video helped you understand what's actually going on with this story, hit subscribe. I'll keep covering this as it develops.